May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio mini podcast. I'm DC Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives. I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable, free from economic hardship, and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the limitations of the universal precept of do as little harm as possible. Like last night, I am having to make this podcast with my earbuds, and it's raining again. Well, you know the reason it is, because I made them at the same time, because I needed to. But circumstances did not allow me to get to my nice mic and studio. But this will have to do for now. So today I'm going to read to you, and then you are going to hear Shunryu Suzuki speak the last words he said in his last lecture on August 21st, 1971. So I used that to as the audio clip to include in the audiobook for Crooked Cucumber, second edition. Yeah, I think that was very appropriate. There is one last audio clip, and that's at the end of the epilogue, which I will do probably tomorrow. But that will be the end of this series of the audio clips from the audiobook for Crooked Cucumber, The Life and Zen Teaching of Shunryu Suzuki. So, yeah, so I'm just going to read it to you, then you can hear him say it. We don't know how long it takes for us to make, Buddha trip. We have many trips, work trips, various trips, space trips, various trips we must have. Buddha trip is very long trip. That is Buddhism. Thank you very much.
We don't know how long it takes for us to make, Buddha trip. We have many trips, work trips, various trips, space trip, various trip we must have. Buddha trip is very, very long trip. That is Buddhism. Thank you very much.
So he gave that in the city. I was at Tassajara. I didn't hear it. And after that, he didn't lecture again. He was in bed most of the time. He did come down some for meals. And people would see him out in the hall sometime. And as he got sicker, they moved a bed to where the Founders Hall is upstairs now, to, I think there, just right over the courtyard. Anyway, it was right on the courtyard, second floor. And he liked being there because he could open it, and the windows downstairs to the Buddha hall would be open, and he could hear the morning service chanting the Heart Sutra and the other services during the day. But the morning service was the longer. It had more than just the Heart Sutra. And he said that was his service, and his practice was to drink a glass of orange juice then in the morning. And so after a while, he got mm, sicker, weaker. Uh, he was still communicating, and he went. They moved him back to his room, a hospital bed in his room, just a short way away from there. Uh, and he saw people as he was approaching death. A lot of people came to visit him, and the disciples saw him. I came from Tassajara and spent some time with him, which was great. He really, say, "Hey, I'm not so serious. Don't worry," and sat up in bed and slapped his thighs just like he was fine. And then, I spoke a little Japanese. Um, there were only two people that did. Dan Wells spoke excellent Japanese because he'd lived there a year and a half in a temple with no English. That's the way, man. Uh, Total immersion. Um, and although a lot of their time they weren't talking, there was enough where he really learned it well. He translated quite a bit for Tatsugami. Very impressive. But I had studied it intensively and had been studying with Suzuki, studying sutras and studying the things he spoke on in the lectures and making little. I drew the Chinese characters on blackboard for him that he could point to while he lectured and stuff like that. So uh, and then he told me not to leave. I had been told when I went up there by Richard Baker, who was sort of he and Yvonne Rand were sort of the gatekeepers, and Richard knew how chatty I am and informal. And he told me, don't take more than 5 minutes unless he absolutely insists you stay. And that's exactly what happened. I said, no, I've got to go. I said, well, thank you. I should leave now. He went, no, stay. I said, no, I really should go. He said, if you leave, I'll be unhappy. If you stay, I'll be happy. I went, all right, I give up. And then he called for his relatives who had come from Japan to come in. And then I hung out with all of them and we talked. And so it was a really nice time. Yeah, that was a nice way to that was a very nice visit. I did see him two other times. We got ordained. Maybe I got ordained before that and he was too sick. I think I might have gotten ordained after that as a priest. By him, but by Katagiri for him, right? And then we all went up to see him in his room afterwards. Mm. And yeah, uh, I wasn't torn apart by his getting sick and dying. And the same is true about my father. But I cried when my father died. But I was raised. Ooh, isn't that great? Ooh, ah, yeah. There's a little rain. The rain has subsided. Anyway, I was sort of raised on you know, a strong sense of the cosmic. And like when you die, your practice, your spiritual path continues. And it's really nothing to, uh, gnash teeth and rent your hair or whatever the phrases are. And my father said the same thing that Suzuki said. He said, really, nothing dies. Um, but still, I mean, after we were ordained, I just went up to on the roof to be by myself. Mm. And I looked out over San Francisco and I cried for a while. But, I don't know if I cried again after it. It's just part of life. But, you miss people when they die. But, you know, I think they don't miss being here. Mm. um, that and Mohammed said that too. He said, well, he said nobody wants to come back, but I don't know about that. I mean, we do come back. Maybe at first we don't want to, but we gravitate back. Uh, but anyway, all that stuff's a mystery. Who knows? Oh yeah, I saw him one more time after Richard Baker's mountain seat ceremony. The disciples and older students, people who've been around a long time. I don't know, about 25 of us went to his uh, Suzuki's sort of like study upstairs, and he'd do private interviews, jokes on there, meet people. It's pretty good size to Tommy, and that was very touching. With Dick sitting by him, he just made the abbot and passed it all on, and kind of Gary. That was pretty emotional then too, and he just said, "Oh, I'm okay, don't worry," and he acted real proud that Dick was now the abbot, but he looked shriveled and brown, and it was rather shocking. But um, anyway, it's the way it was. So let's listen to Suzuki's last words in his last lecture. It's not our last tape. The last tape is the one where he's announcing to his disciples that he has cancer. Not those of us at Tassajara, those that were around there. The disciples and very close students. Mm. And that's interesting. I mean, he made it sort of a light-hearted meeting. You don't hear people gasping and sobbing and stuff like that. The main place where that happened, I heard, well, at the funeral, there was a little bit at Dick's mountain seat ceremony, Richard Baker's mountain seat ceremony, because Suzuki was so sick. And then at the funeral, there were people crying. I don't think I cried then. Trumpa cried, oh my God. Uh, and he was the most dramatic person there. But where I really hear people cried is at the cremation. And they didn't tell me about it. So I didn't go. And I was a little disappointed, to say the least. These people came back. I said, nobody told me about it. And then I was staying in the building. It was weird. But anyway, what I heard was a real tearjerker. So let's hear Suzuki one last time.
We don't know how long it takes for us to make, Buddha trip. We have many trips, work trips, various trips, space trip, various trip we must have. Buddha trip is very long trip. That is Buddhism. Thank you very much.
This has been a Cuke Audio mini podcast. I'm DC Puba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from Sleepy Sonora with Dogette Bandita, Feline Cuchita, and dear lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.